I greet you all and thank the organizers for the opportunity to address this event. The Innovative Pharmaceutical Association of South Africa is a voluntary association of research and development-based pharmaceutical manufacturers of innovative medicines, diagnostics, and vaccines. It is precisely due to the fact that several of our member companies produce vaccines and are involved in the development of COVID-19 vaccines that we are grateful for the opportunity to share with the forum our thoughts on some of the keys pertaining to the research for COVID-19 vaccines. The advent of the coronavirus has visited upon the world the worst pandemic it has experienced in a decade. Because it is a new virus, initial attempts at getting to grips with it involved a lot of trial and error. Inevitably, as with the global reaction to all other pandemics before this one, scientists agreed on at least one thing. A vaccine had to be developed as the best remedy to stopping the spread of the virus. Unlike in the normal vaccine development of the past, the vaccine to halt the spread of the COVID-19 virus had to be developed post-haste. One of the biggest hurdles to the successful implementation of a vaccination strategy has been the issue of so-called vaccine hesitancy, also known as anti-vaccination or anti-vax. This is a reluctance or refusal to be vaccinated or to have one's children vaccinated against contagious diseases. It was identified by the World Health Organization as one of the top 10 global health threats of 2019. The term encompasses outright refusal to vaccinate, delaying vaccines, accepting vaccines but remaining uncertain about their use, or using certain vaccines but not others. Arguments against vaccination are contradicted by overwhelming scientific consensus about the safety and efficacy of vaccines. For purposes of this talk, therefore, I find it necessary, first and foremost, to discuss briefly why humankind needs vaccines. I will then go on to discuss what the biopharmaceutical industry has done to date in the fight against COVID-19, the industry's collaboration with government, and research and development, which is the basis for innovative therapies. Finally, I shall touch on the economic impact of access to the COVID-19 vaccines and affordability of the vaccine in South Africa. Why do we need vaccination in general? We are protected from infectious diseases by our immune system, which destroys disease-causing germs, also known as pathogens, when they invade the body. If our immune system is not quick or strong enough to prevent pathogens taking hold, then we get ill. We use vaccines to stop this from happening. A vaccine provides a controlled exposure to a pathogen, training and strengthening the immune system so it can fight that disease quickly and effectively in future. By imitating the infection, the vaccine protects us against the real thing. If enough of a population is vaccinated, infections cannot spread from person to person, which means that everyone has a high level of protection, even those who do not have immunity. This is known as herd protection or herd immunity. It is important because not everyone can be directly protected with vaccines. Some people are unresponsive to them, or have allergies or health conditions that prevent them from taking them. In today's world of denser cities, increased international travel, migration, and ecological change, the ability of emerging infectious diseases such as Ebola to spread and cause devastation is increasing. Vaccines can be a key tool in managing this threat, but only if we have them ready for diseases when they appear. The COVID-19 pandemic has prompted the most remarkable, collaborative, and ambitious response from across the world in human history. New and formidable partnerships have been forged across the healthcare sector to hasten the discovery, manufacturing, and delivery of cutting-edge innovations. In the innovative pharmaceutical industry, scientists continue to work around the clock to develop and test new vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics, and innovation is unfolding at unprecedented levels, producing what previously would have taken decades in a fraction of the time. The WHO and other stakeholders have formed the ACT, the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator, which is a global collaboration to augment equitable access to COVID-19 tests, treatments, and vaccines. Others include Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and COVAX, to which South Africa has subscribed. Sadly, there has been an element of vaccine nationalism, with some wealthy countries procuring vast quantities of doses even before the completion of clinical trials. This so-called nation-first strategy is not new. Soon after the WHO declared H1N1 a pandemic in 2009, high-income countries, especially Australia, Canada, and the United States, purchased initially scarce vaccine supplies for their own citizens, leaving little vaccine supply for low and middle income countries that also needed it. It has to be emphasized that precisely because of the interconnectedness of countries and nations due to increased international travel, sports, migration, and other factors, herd immunity cannot be achieved in one part of the world if the rest of the globe doesn't have access to adequate quantities of the vaccine. Collaboration towards achieving global access will not only help end the pandemic that has claimed the lives of close to 2 million people worldwide and upended our sense of normalcy, but it will also lay the groundwork for a healthier, more secure world. Our best and brightest are rising to the occasion and meeting this challenge head-on. By working together as social partners, we can harness their ingenuity and creativity to ensure equitable access and that the world is better prepared for future outbreaks. In addition to ensuring global access, as social partners, we must work together to build and maintain public confidence in medical and scientific innovations, develop the infrastructure needed to deliver vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics, as well as implement regulatory processes to speed up access to new tools. Many IPASA member companies involved in the search for new vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics started engagements with governments across sub-Saharan Africa, including South Africa, quite early in the pandemic, to understand how they could support their national COVID-19 responses and strategies. The South African government itself has publicly released its vaccine acquisition and immunization strategy, which will involve close collaboration with the private sector through Business Unity South Africa, BUSA, and initiatives such as Business for South Africa, which was set up precisely as a business response to the pandemic. What would be the economic benefits of making the COVID-19 vaccines accessible to as many of the world's populations as possible? According to Dr. Chris Harmse, an economist at CH Economics, a report recently published by the World Economic Forum has highlighted the massive positive economic effect that an equal access to COVID-19 vaccines could have on the world economy. The World Economic Forum reported that if the 10 major economies in the world have equal access to COVID-19 vaccines, their economies could be $466 billion better off by 2025. The report also emphasizes that if low and middle income countries like South Africa do not access to the vaccine, the COVID-19 pandemic will cause significant economic damage for all economies and put decades of economic progress at risk. The question then is, can South Africa afford the COVID-19 vaccine? I believe a more valid question would probably be, can South Africa afford not to embark on a mass vaccination program? For reasons already mentioned above, the response to the second question has to be a big no. It is estimated that 40 million South Africans would need to be vaccinated in order for the country to achieve herd immunity. Preliminary estimates by government put the cost of achieving this at around 20 billion rand. Some experts estimate that if the bulk of the doses consist of the AstraZeneca vaccine procured from the Serum Institute of India, the cost could be considerably lower. However, various other IPASA member companies have indicated readiness to supply their vaccine to South Africa as soon as regulatory approval has been received. Finally, how far is South Africa from researching and producing the COVID-19 vaccine locally? With 25% of the world's burden of disease, only 2% of all clinical trials are conducted in Africa. We need to have the barriers removed which have delayed more clinical trials being performed in South Africa. Clinical trials are the basis for research and development, and with South Africa's excellent and world-class facilities for the conducting of clinical trials, there is no reason why the country would not be ready to have research for the next pandemic conducted in our country. Boosting research and development on the continent could be a better means of unlocking immense untapped value and improve public health responses to diseases. Currently, it takes 10 to 15 years to develop a medicine or vaccine. However, with a high failure rate in pharma research and development, companies also experience major losses. For example, an early phase compound may have a promising outlook, but only preclinical and clinical trials will demonstrate its efficacy, quality, and safety. In addition, lost investments may increase when a failure occurs in later research and development phases. With closer collaboration between government, the country's research institutions, the local industry, and with the necessary technology transfer by the innovative pharmaceutical industry, COVID-19 research and production of this and other vaccines augur well for the country's technological and economic development. I thank you.